Alright, welcome to Millennium County. This is part 3 of the truss bridge installation. Well, I gotta tell you, a lot of guys plan these things out really well, and that's probably the smart thing to do. Because, you know, I didn't, and when I went to lay the track, I didn't have enough. I didn't account for the tighter curve, or I should say the wider curve, because I'm using 24-inch radius track, and I didn't count on that. And I just assumed that it would fit because it looked like it would. So consequently, I had to move the bridge just over about another 4 inches, but I still had to move it. Of course, that brought a whole host of other problems. But believe it or not, I did figure it out. And today's Friday, by the way. I'm not sure. I think it's the 25th of May. So it's just a few days after I posted part 2. So anyway, I'm going to kind of go through this with you. It's not really that big of a deal. I mean, it is, but, you know, it could be worse. It could always be worse. So, first let me show you what happened. Over here, I got some light here. Guess we can take this off right now. It's done. Okay. So what I had to do with the bridge was, originally, the bridge went between those two posts, right here and right here. Well, like I said, it was 4 inches off, so I had to move the bridge over a little bit. So, the good news is I still got to figure out, I've got to put a brace in here somehow for the other side of the bridge. And that might be a little tricky, I'm not sure yet. But I've got a few ideas I'm kicking around. So anyway, what I wound up having, so I got that done, so it's actually connected on one side. Then I had to move this bracket, where'd it go, right over here. Had to move it over a few inches. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to actually bring this ridge out over more, which is no big deal, and I already checked the curves and all that, so I'll be okay. But see, I didn't factor any of this stuff in when I first conceived the idea. That was kind of a big mistake. So anyway, so that's what the bridge looks like when it's in place. It does fit in perfectly. And over here, I had to add on to the actual top. So I actually built a tunnel. Came out pretty good. Actually, I haven't painted it yet or finished it out, but I'm going to. So, but it's going to work out perfectly, and I got the perfect curvature now, so where I can lay the track in this very long Amtrak passenger car. We'll go through the tunnel, or actually through the bridge, without any issues. So that was one of the things I had to do. I'll tell you what, you know, this hobby sometimes can be really hand-wringing. I mean, it's just the way it works. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do for tunnel portals yet. I could print up some that make them work, because I can, you know, make them as wide as I want. But that's what I did over. Where did I do that at? Well, I made that one over there. That one actually came out really nice. And on the other side, I've got, I'll tell you, if I were any fatter, I'd be in trouble. I wouldn't be able to make it through here. That should be a reasonably in weight. And actually here I made one which I could not find any, and I don't know if they even make such a beast. They did not have a 3-track tunnel portal. So I went ahead and printed one up. Then I've got the 2-track up there. I've got a single one under there. Now, I printed all these up on my 3D printer. It's way cheaper to do it that way than it is to actually purchase them. So I'll probably make some for both sides of this little tunnel entrance. At least that's the plan. You know, of course, some plans don't always work out the way you want. But, you know. So, get seated over here again. So anyway, that's where we're at with it. But it does look good. I did the best I could with the rust. You know, I'm kind of new to this whole weathering thing. I don't know how well you can see this. Yeah, you can see a little bit under there. It's just brown. In the camera may actually make it look blacker than it is, but I didn't do too much. Just little areas where you normally see rust. I went online and looked at, I actually found almost this exact same truss bridge. There is one actually in the country. It's same color. And I think scale-wise, it's about the same length. And it had similar rust features on it. So I feel a little more confident now that I didn't do too bad. You know. That's one of those things where practice makes perfect. So it's like, you know, the tunnel portals. See if I can zoom in on that. That's about it. There we go. Now what I actually did on this, where the diesels go over, you know, there's always a little bit of soot. So I mimicked the soot imprint that you would see on the top of a portal. That came out pretty good, I thought, you know. So, like I said, there's a lot of things that's really on a learning curve here. And, of course, as usual, I made a really large mess again. Well, not really large, but large enough. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a while. We'll get back on when I'm ready to do some, well, after I paint it up, and I have to figure out, I guess I'll lay some crack too. And try and get this side done. So, stay tuned. Be back in a bit with some more progress on my railroad. Hang in there, I'll be back soon. Alright. That was a brief break, like 12 hours. Anyway, I'm back. And this is what I've done. I got it all painted up. I got my spring bridgey thing going on here. That's in its up position. I just put the second coat of paint so you probably see some shiny lines there. Oh look, there's the nude beach. So now, once the paint dries, I'm going to go ahead and lay the track up to the bridge. And sit down over here. Lay the bridge up to the, lay the track up to the bridge. It looks pretty good though, you gotta admit. And then I'll get the track on the bridge, and then over here, here's where it gets tricky. Well, not really compared to what I've just gone through. But, in fact, let me flip the light on over there. There we go. What I'm going to have to do is, the ridge in the back there where you can see the top rail. I have to bring it out a little bit to meet up with the bridge, which is no big deal. I'll just add on to that. I could throw some foam in there, and of course I'll have to come up with something for the mountain because I don't have any more of that mountain foil or whatever it's called. So I may have to go out and buy another roll, but that's going to take a while. But at least I can get everything laid out for it anyway. And you know, once the rail's connected and power to it, I'll have to run power from the bridge and try and find a way to hide the wires a little bit. Because that rail has to be powered, obviously. So then I'll be able to run my passenger rail. Yay, trains. I know, I'm getting weird about a minute. You know, I got to thinking about this, and most of you guys out there are kind of strange anyway. And I'm thinking, alright, we're grown men playing with toy trains. So I guess we've earned the right to be a little weird. But it's okay, because it's cool. And it's also a very serious hobby, you know. I'm going to put it on here, on the video. It's a still. I get comics every day on the computer, the comic strip. And we got the one where the guy says, he goes into a hobby center. And the owner of the store says, "Sir, may I help you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm thinking about, you know, maybe getting the trains for a hobby." And the store owner goes, "Sir, playing with trains isn't a hobby." So the guy says, "Well, what is it then?" He says, the store owner goes, "It's a way of life, sir." You know? And there's probably some truth to that, because this really is more than just a hobby. But still, it's a lot of fun. A lot of challenges. You have to be a jack of all trades, really. I mean, you got to be an electrician, a builder, you know, a carpenter, a painter. There's just so many different things involved with building a layout. I think it's great. And I don't think that everybody can do it. I think it takes that those of us who actually do it are actually very talented individuals, and we express ourselves through our model trains. And of course the love of trains, because, you know, we wouldn't be messing with them if we didn't think they were totally cool. So that's where we're at with this, but I just had to say that just because. So anyway, we're getting along pretty good here. So I'm going to pause again till I get some more done. I really got to get the some scenery up there, you know, and get maybe some rocks or something. I don't know. We're going to have to get something up there because it looks way too plain. So we have to dress it up. So when I go ahead and come back on and start videoing again, hopefully I'll have some scenery up there. And I'll be back in a few. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back again. Well, I got some of the track down. What I had to do is run the wires. So you probably can't see them too well. So wait on again. Alright, there we go. Now you can see the wires that are in there from the track. And they actually go down there somewhere. There we go. And they'll be hidden away here pretty soon, or mostly hidden away. So that's going to take care of track power. You can see that I've got one of my passenger cars on the track. And we're going to be looking good here as far as curvature goes, and, you know, radius. That was the word I was looking for, radius. Anyway, we're looking pretty good. Still got to work on this over here. This can be trick. I pulled up the track over there, 2 lengths of it, 16 inches. I'm going to use a flex track to make the gentle curve over to here. And I think I'm going to go ahead and separate this and then just swing it over. And I can just do touch up on the paint. This way I won't really mess up my ridge design there, which I like to keep because, you know, I put a lot of time into it. So that's where we're at. I've been busy. Yeah, if you guys have never invested in a track cutter, this is the coolest thing. I don't have it plugged in right now, but you line up the track where you want. I have a piece of spare track here. There we go. You put it right in there, and then you just drop this down, and it just makes you a perfectly clean cut. You can do it on curves, straights. You could also use wood and metal in there because it has a metal cutting die grinding blade there. I bought that from Pros too. You've probably heard me say that a few times, at least on the live feeds, other people's live feeds. Pros' Hobbies. They got some really cool stuff over in England. I was lucky. I was able to get this off of eBay, but it did actually, in fact, originally come from Pros. I don't know if somebody here is buying it and stocking it to sell locally because I got it pretty quick. And it was free shipping. I think I paid around $60 for it, but I'll tell you what, it comes with a couple extra blades. You just can't go wrong, and it's all automatic. When it's up like that, it shuts itself off. When you drop it down, it turns on. And it really makes cutting track a lot easier, you know, where you can do that. And otherwise, I have to use the old-fashioned Dremel tool. It's over there somewhere with a cutting disc on there, and I have to do that where I'm, you know, like, where the track is already down, I just got to separate it, you know, for lift outs and what have you. But I'll tell you what, you know, and I had no qualm with buying some of this stuff, even though the reality is I'll probably never use it again once the layout's finished, but you never know. But it really is the way to go. I also invested in a ballast spreading tool from the same place, Pros'. That was $40-some. And they also have a glue spreading tool that you use to go, after you put the ballast down, then you run this thing over it, and it's electronic, and it gives you just the right amount of you know, watered down glue to make your ballast look good. It makes a big world of difference. I gotta get that yet. That's $60 too. That I actually have to get from Pros out of England because nobody in the States has it. But I'm not quite ready to do ballast yet, but pretty soon. So, you know, this equipment really comes in handy, and I'll tell you what, I realize it's kind of pricey, and, you know, I'm not a rich man, and, you know, I put in what I can, whatever I can, you know, for the hobby, but this equipment was really worthwhile, you know. And you'll notice some of the things I use here. Like I've got my chop saw, I bought that online, eBay. I think I paid I paid $120 for that. And that's been a lifesaver, especially in here for bench work and the drop-in table sections. It really comes in handy for cutting up things if you want, you know, proper angles and that. You know, I bought a belt sander. I got that pretty cheap. I don't remember what I paid for that. That's a skill. I also have a, you know, I can never remember what it's called. Oscillating tool. I had one, and it was cordless, and the battery went bad. And the battery cost almost as much as what I paid for the whole unit, so I just said, you know what, I'm not doing that. I didn't get much use out of the battery, and it didn't have the power that a full electric one does. So I decided to buy one that was electric. I also have a mini skill saw. That's from Works. That was $100 and something. My wife got me that for Christmas. And that's been real handy too for doing, instead of dragging. I've got the big skill saw down there in that black box, but these kind of a nuisance to pull out for little jobs. And once again, I went out and originally I bought a cordless mini saw, and I just didn't like the way it operated. It didn't seem to have any power. And once again, you get in the whole battery situation where the batteries just don't last, and batteries cost more than the unit does. So once again, I opted for electric, and that's still the best way to go. And I should pull that out here so you can look at it. I looked at a lot of these. And this one here, believe it or not, seemed to really fit the bill. Let me put this up here where I can get a better picture of it. There we go. Has a 4.5-inch blade on it, single-handed. It even has an attachment where you can hook your wet dry vacuum hose to it, so if you don't want to make too much of a mess. And this is made by Works, and it was really worth the money. Plus, it's adjustable. You could do 45-degree angles with it, and adjust the depth for, down to a 1/16 or as deep as I think it goes. Yeah, you can actually cut a 2x4 with it. So you can't go wrong. And I'll tell you what, like I said, these tools, they really come in handy, especially if you're going to be in the business of doing your layout for a few years. So, and of course, a lot of these tools are good for other applications, not just for the train room. So really, it's, I've invested in this stuff because, before my stroke, I had a handyman business that I was doing really good at, and I invested in a lot of different equipment. I sold a lot of it because I couldn't use it anymore, but I found that having the right tools makes the job go so much easier and more precise. So, this is the way to go if you're gonna be doing this as a hobby. So for all you beginners out there, keep in mind that it's not just about getting track and cars and buildings and lights. You also need the tools to make your job easier. So don't skimp on the tools, because you know what? You'll pay for it one way or the other. So, that's the way to go. Same with my Dremel tool. Now, my wife also bought me a Dremel tool last Christmas, and she bought me this cordless one. And I'll tell you what, it's nice. But once again, now I also have a powered one, a corded one. And I use the corded one for the big jobs. But for small jobs, this thing is great because you have the 4-hour cords or anything. You just turn it on and boom, and it charges up pretty quick. And those are charged for a pretty good period. So, once again, and I don't remember what she paid for that. It wasn't all that expensive. I think it was like 30 or 40 bucks. So, So just a word of advice for any beginners out there. Even the guys that are in it, if you don't have this equipment, invest in it. It's worth it. So, instead of killing your wife's vacuum cleaner, get yourself a small wet dry. These are on sale for $49 at Rural King, so I bought one. It's a little smaller than the big one I had. I think it's only 3 gallon or something like that, or 4 gallon, but it does the job and doesn't destroy the other vacuums, because, in this house, we go through vacuums. So for the garbage stuff, this is the way to go. Let's see, anything else? Now we're going to take another break and I'll be back on as soon as I get some more accomplished. So stay tuned. Well, I'm back. So, I've been busy. And I'm going to go ahead and show you just how busy I've been. I made a rock face above the tunnel area there. The small train station to let, the nude bathers come and go. I still got to get a stairwell to go down to the Doodle Lake. I'll have to order one from somewhere. The bridge is done. And I've got my track down. I don't have the power to this track section yet. Matter of fact, you might be able to see the wires hanging down there a little bit. If there's one of them. But everything seems good. Alignment's good. I threw a couple of boulders back in there. Gives a little, definition. Well, of course, I have my rock face molds, and plenty of plaster of Paris. So we're getting along pretty good on that. I still want to probably put some grass and some more trees on top of the mountain there, or the tunnel area there. I guess you can call it a tunnel, right? I've still got to make portals yet, but I'll get to that eventually. Of course, this front piece here can actually be considered a portal. Maybe I'll make another portal to put on top of that one. It'll look more realistic. Then I'll have to make a special portal for the three track section here. That'll take a few days to print that out. That's the problem with 3D printing. It's time consuming. So I did clean up a little bit. Not near as messy as it was. I also came up with an idea. I think will work out just fine. It's just sitting here now. It's not bolted or just glued in yet. It's an extension for the passenger rail. And yes, it's going to go over the top of the Dairy Queen. Which, it may be unusual, but still, it's a workable thing. So, and then of course I'll lay track on top of that. And that'll allow me to have, I think, 2 more passenger cars. Possibly 3. On my Amtrak passenger rail, which would be cool. So I'll work on that later, probably tomorrow. I think that's about it for the moment. I do have, I don't know if you can really see that or not, but it's all lit up in there. Domino's, you see some people in there doing business. And I don't know if you can see anything in there or not. Maybe, but I've got people in the Dairy Queen too, and it's lit up. So, there's so much to do though. I've still got to get lighting to my gas station, Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Amtrak station that's buried underneath stuff over there. And get the working light up on the water tower. Many things to be done. But I think I'm going to save all that for another video. I'd like to at least get this area wrapped up. The truss bridge. It's just coming along real well. So I want to get some more scenery on top of the mountain. Or tunnel, I don't know why I keep calling it a mountain. The tunnel, and then I'll probably call that finished. Other than the portals. Like I said, it'll take time to make the portals. So we may save the portals for another video. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause for a bit, and I'll probably back, well, it'll actually be tomorrow, but as far as you guys are concerned, it'll be in a few seconds. After I get some more scenery planted on top of the tunnel, and possibly even over there on the main line to the right of the bridge. So we'll see how that goes. So, stay tuned. Be back in a minute. And I'm back. So, what we got here is everything's kind of finished out, more or less. I added the stairwells, some more trees, more people walking over the bridge. Got the little station there, some people walking. You can have a sign that says Nude Beach. Probably can't see it that well, but it's there. We've got rocks and trees and grass. There's our lone passenger car sitting there. Oops. You have some boulders in front of the track on the bridge side, and a tree. Oh, altogether it looks pretty good. And I've got the 3D printer out. We're printing a bridge portal. Can't really see too much at the moment. But we're making progress. That's going to take about 6 hours to print that portal. It takes a while, but you know, it is what it is. And I've got to do 3 of them. Because actually what I'm going to do is we'll split 2 of them and make them wider. And hopefully this is going to be the right, I hope it'll be the right dimensions. I could probably modify it if it's not. But sometimes it's tough, you know, you figure the math on the print, but it's not always 100%, so. But no biggie. Like I said, we'll just modify it if necessary. Of course, that looks a lot bigger because there's an outline on it that's, I can't remember what it's called, but it holds it down on the build plate, and that'll go away once it's finished. So it's actually going to be a little bit smaller than what you're actually seeing there. So anyway, that's where we're at. I think it's safe to say that this concludes the truss bridge installation, even though we did add a few things in there. Now the next video, and as promised, here are the photographs I took of Doodle Lake. Warning, nudity ahead. Anyway, these are the shots. I don't know if you guys watch these full screen or not. You know you can. You get a lot more magnification if you're watching it full screen. Yeah, no, a bunch of perverts all of us, aren't we? Anyway, can't have a train layout without a nude beach. Just one of those things you just gotta have. So, you know, it is what it is. So, come a long way with it. I want to add some more later on. I don't have any men on there, just women. You know, because my wife complains, where's the men? So I kind of see her point, so I'll have to see if I can find some. Anyway, enjoy, and back to the normal video. There we go, that's better. Alright, so the next video is going to show the portals in place, painted, and weathered, and all the goody stuff. Also, that extension for the passenger rail, I'll have that finished. And that's probably going to be about it. That'll probably be a relatively short one. Maybe I'll go ahead and do a document or a how-to on the weathering, like I'm an expert, not. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because I don't want it to be too short, but I don't want it to be too long either. So, but anyway, that's where we're going. So, for all you guys that have, looks like we got a power failure. For all you guys that have sat here watching. I hope that power comes back on soon. This is not good. For all you guys that have been watching, thank you. Oh, there's the power. And hope you continue to tell your friends to subscribe. And if you're not subscribed, please do. And don't forget to do the little bell so you'll know when I throw out a video. Which I know doesn't always happen often, but you never know. Anyway, thanks again for watching. And stay tuned for the next great exciting video of Millennium County.